Okay, so in this tutorial we are going to see how RxJava would be helping us, right? I'm not going to cover all the details of the RxJava. This is beyond the scope of, you can see, this lecture. What are the observables, what are the subscribers, right? We'll see in a shorter manner. So here is the GitHub link of the RxJava project is implemented in Android with the name Rx Android, right? Rx Android. So if you are willing to work with the RxJava, right, if you are willing to work with the RxJava, you need to have these two dependencies in your project, right? You need to have these two dependencies in the project. I'll go to the UI. Where is that UI manipulation? I'll go to the build.gradle, right? build.gradle, and here I would like to add these two dependencies, which is Rx Android and Rx Java. Let's sync the project, right? If you will think, or if you see this thing, what is a Rx Java, right? This module adds a minimum classes to Rx Java that makes writing the reactive components in Android application easy and hassle free. Okay, more specifically, it provides the scheduler that schedules on the main thread or any given looper. Looper stands for thread, right? So RxJava, you can work with the main scheduler or you can work with the any other thread. Okay, here is a something very simple that they have given. Can you see? Observable dot just 1 2 3 4 5, right? Work on this. Subscribe on main thread, sorry, subscribe on worker thread, and observe on scheduler main thread. So one would be observing, right? One would be posting to the main thread, and one another is going to be working in another thread. So worker thread and the main thread communication is done via this thing. Okay, now if you are going to work, or if you would like to work with the RxJava, you need to write the observables. Observables are the processors. They are actually going to process. Now see, observable, it is going to return me the string observable. I can say counter observable, counter observable, right? This would be the counter observable. It is going to return me the observable, so I can return straight away, return, you can say, observable dot create, right? It is going to return me observable dot create, and here you can have on subscribe this thing. Can you see this thing? Observable, see this, replace with the lambda subscriber arrow, this thing. See, it was this new observable dot subscribe string, and it is having only one method as call. So this method is going to be get called, and I can say replace this with the lambda straight away, this thing. That's fine. So I have converted it to the lambda. So here you are going to write your actual for loop, right? See, for int I is equals to 0, I is less than 100, and say I plus plus, I plus plus, int I is equals to 0, I is less than 100, and I plus plus. Here you can say thread dot sleep for half second, this thread dot sleep for half second, and you are going to subscribe. You have subscriber over here. You are going to say, hey subscriber, right? Hey subscriber dot on next. So instead of this string, I can have, or fine, it would be the string on next, you can say plus I, and after this loop I can say subscriber dot on completed. So operation is completed over here, and per iteration I am going to send one string to my observable. right? Okay, now see how counter observable dot counter observable, you can say counter observable dot observe on and subscribe on. So what we are going to do is that observe on and subscribe on, these two things are very important. See this, subscribe on and observe on. Subscribe on any new thread, right, and observe on the main thread. Whatever results you are going to throw, that results are directly going to affect, what I'm saying, that results are directly going to affect the main thread, right? Whatever results are going to be thrown from here, subscriber dot on next, that going to be affect on the main thread. Okay, and dot subscribe, can you see, dot subscribe, and here you can pass your custom subscriber. See, on completed, on error, and on next. On completed, this is going to be called, on error this is going to be called, and on next this thing is going to be called with this string. And this is typically subscribed on, right? This is observed on main thread, and this is here you are going to do everything on the main thread. So this is the main thread. Now see, what I can do is that find view by id, r dot id dot, what you can say, text info, and here you can say text view dot set text, you can say s over here. On error I'm going to say log dot I at codecool and e dot toString, you can say toString, and before that I'll precede it by error. This is nothing but the error. And on completed, right, on completed, here I can say on completed, completed, and that's it, operation has been completed. Okay, so on the click of this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start observing, right? So instead of that, what can I do is that how RxJava will help me. On the click of this, I'll say how RxJava will help me, restart it and see what happens. Same, subscriber and the observer pattern is implemented in ReactiveX, and you may get the benefit of that thing, right, if you know a little bit about observables and the subscribers. So see, this is the subscriber. Whatever you are going to pass from here, that is going to be captured in the respective events over here, right? See, remember that you don't need this thing, right? You don't need this thing. Just as extra information, right? Meanwhile, if your project manager will ask you, or if your team lead will ask you to work on the subscriber pattern or reactive Android, right, this would be the code. Okay, this would be the code. Okay, same thing if you don't want to provide the subscriber over here, right? So if you think that this, I think, bit clumsy, or if you think that it is bit messy, fine, you can have some another method. See, do on completed, so here you can pass some lambda over here, that lambda do on completed dot do on next, fine, you can send some lambda, do on next is going to give you some string, that string you are going to pass dot say on error, here you are going to get the throwable object and this lambda. Now see, your code is this much only. Here whatever, if you want to communicate with the server, right, that observable you'll write over here. Communication with the server code will go inside this bracket, and result you are capturing over here. On completed, once again let me write log. If you have single line, you don't need to have the brackets. Log.I at codecool, right, completed, completed. Now here we are going to find view by id, convert it to text view, right? You can find view by id, r.id dot, what you can say, text info, right? You can say text info dot set text, this s, and on the error we are just going to display that information over here. Say log dot I at codecool, and you can say plus e dot toString. Observable and the subscriber pattern. Observable and the subscriber. See, this is very much advanced level that I'm telling you. If you know a async task, that's enough for you. What I'm saying, at this level, if you are going to work with the only async task, that's fine. But if you are familiar with the functional programming, and if you say that no, I want to work with the functional programming, I will suggest you to look once at the RXjava. This is also nice, very nice, right? This all code is working in the worker thread. This is working on some another thread, and just you are pushing like the publish progress. You are hitting the events subscriber dot on next, subscriber dot on completed. Here you are telling that, right? And impact of this is on your screen. You can check it over here. Either you can work with the async task, either you can go with the handlers, or you can take the benefit of the RxJava. Everyone is doing same thing, right? But nowadays people are preferring RxJava more and more because it is a functional, typically functional. If you go with the async task, right? If you see the async task, what's happening over here? You need to remember much of the syntaxes over here, but here nothing. You are just going to go on writing the observables. Observables are observing something on the thread, either on the main thread or on the another thread. Go on writing the observable, login observable, right? Register observable, create new product observable, chat with someone observable. So for that, whatever heavy operations are there, for every heavy operation you would be writing one observable, and you would be subscribe on the new thread, and you would be observe on main thread or the UI thread. And here are the events. Time to time this observable is going to throw some of the events. See, per iteration it is going to say next. After the loop it is going to say completed. Don't worry guys, so you are very middle of the lecture, we have passed very much beginning, right? Don't worry about this. Just see how we go with the coding, what kind of code we conduct. And this is typically out of the syllabus. This is not for your syllabus. But when you enter in the market, you need to get updated with the technology, and this is one of that thing, right? Now you can see this thing, how observable work. We have seen how handler work, then we have seen how async task works. Well, this is all about observable and RxJava, right? If you like our videos, right, kindly subscribe us on the Codecool channel. Thanks a lot for watching this UI manipulation.